What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan, health fitness professional for the Cardinal Health site in Mansfield, Massachusetts. Today's video, I want to go over some exercises you can do with the TRX straps here. This black and yellow straps that you can hang either in your garage, like what I'm doing. Being that this is the first TRX video I am doing with you, I do want this to be a total body workout. So we're going to be working the legs, we're going to be working the chest and the back, we're going to be working the arms, and towards the end of this video, we'll be working the core as well. Regardless of what your intensity level is, this should be for all fitness levels. So regardless if it's your first time using the TRX or if you've done it before and you're looking to work a little bit more on form, I'd like you to check out the rest of this video. Unfortunately, there will be no music played due to new restrictions with our company, so feel free to play a little light music if you'd like to in the background of your own home, and we'll go over the cues I have for every one of these exercises together. So, get your TRX set up and let's get started with some squats. Okay, so the first exercise I have is the squat with the TRX. For this, I'd like to make sure that my TRX straps are about mid-length. I'm going to grab by the handle, straighten out my arms, and then what I want to do is keep my arms nice and straight as I bring my hips back and bend at the knee, going as low as I can, just a little bit more acute with my knees than 90 degrees, and then coming right back up, going down and back up. The most important thing when I stand up is to make sure that I'm squeezing at the glutes as tight as I can. And to make this more challenging, small step forward, leaning back a little bit more, bringing the hips again as far back as I can, same deal as the first rep, regardless of how far forward I step. Stepping forward will make this a little more challenging, so I want to make sure I go nice and slow. I'm driving my heels into the floor for good posture. Back is nice and flat, core is tight. And I'll do about 15 reps or so with this exercise nice and slow. The next exercise I want to go over is the push-up. So for this one, because it's mostly upper body, I want to lengthen my TRX straps at full length. What I'm going to do is I'm going to face away from where my TRX straps are. Find the angle that works for me. For a lot of people, it'll be almost standing up perfectly straight. Regardless, what I want you to do is make sure that when you lean forward, you're keeping your back nice and flat and you're keeping your arms nice and wide. Just like that. They're not going to be in close to your torso. They're going to be out just a little bit, probably around the rib cage area, not so much the shoulders. So keep them down just a little bit, those elbows, going down as low as you can, and leaning back for the push-up. Leaning forward, widening the arms, leaning back into upright position, like so. As I come up, I am going to bring my arms, my hands together. So I straighten out my arms and bring them in. The straps will go just over the shoulder to make it a little bit more comfortable for that motion, bringing them in. And to make this a little bit more challenging, all I'm going to do is take a big step back, leaning down nice and low, and back up. It's not the most stable exercise in the world, being that we're using the straps, so it does require a lot of core work to keep yourself nice and steady for the push-up. Doing about 15 reps of these, and moving on to the next exercise. The next exercise after the push-up, we're going to do two different body parts for the back and the bicep. It's going to be the row and the curl, alternating those two exercises. And again, because this is upper body, I do want to have my straps at a pretty long length. I'm going to straighten out like so. And I'm going to tuck my elbows into the sides of my torso for the row. Once I finish that, I want to turn my hands so that my palms are facing the ceiling. Keep my elbows forward as I bring my hands right to my head. And that'll be working the bicep for a curl. Alternate, elbows back, elbows forward. Taking your time with these two exercises. For a lot of people, the row is way stronger than the curl. So for that, what you can do is you can take a small step forward for the row and another small step back for the curl. Changing the intensity for one of the two exercises so you can keep going for about 15 reps for the row and the curl. Notice that my steps forward and back when I was alternating exercises, they were not really that big. It's a small step for a huge difference in intensity levels. Up next, what I want to do is I want to do an overhead tricep extension. So for this one, being that it is an upper body exercise, I still want to shorten my straps just a little bit. I find that shortening the straps for this exercise makes it a little bit more manageable. What I want to do is I want to stand away from where the TRX strap is set up. I'm going to do one of two options here. I'm either going to have my hands out in front like so, or they'll be over my head. What I want to do is I want to target every single fiber of muscle in my tricep, and the best way to do that is this method here, hands out in front. Elbows will stay in and forward as I allow my hands to come back towards covering the ear. And again, keeping the elbows in place as I straighten out my arm. For this exercise, it does require a lot of strength, even though it may not seem like it. It'll require even more concentration and strength if I were to take a big step back. Now, I say big step back, I probably took about 3 inches of a step back for that one. That's still a huge change in the intensity level. If I were to step forward a little bit more and have my hands over my head, I'm working a fraction of the triceps. But for a lot of people who are just starting off with TRX training, this is probably the method you want to start off with, just to get comfortable with using the TRX straps and really working the triceps in a way you probably have not done before. Just like the rest of the exercises we've gone over so far, do about 15 reps of these if you can. Make sure you take breaks in between if you need to, and we'll move on to the next exercise. Next up is one of my favorite shoulder exercises. It's called the Alligator. I'm going to step back here, keep my hands out in front like so. And this one can be a little tricky because we're going to be alternating sides. Regardless of what you're doing, make sure that your palms face each other the entire exercise. So, what I want to do is I'm going to turn my hands so that one hand is over the other, and I'm going to use both of them at the same time by opening up my arms. One arm goes up, one arm goes down. Keeping the arms straight the whole time. As I finish that one repetition, I'm going to switch hands. One arm goes up, one arm goes down. To change the intensity, all I would have to do is take a small step forward. That small step forward is a huge increase in intensity on its own. Making sure my glutes and my core are nice and tight so that I can keep a neutral spine during this time. Keeping my eyes where the TRX is wrapped around the wall or the ceiling, door frame, whatever you have at home. And the most common mistake people do during this exercise is they will allow the wrist to bend as they pull themselves up. What I want you to do is avoid that as much as possible. Make sure your wrist is nice and neutral for the entire exercise, whether that arm is going up or down. The final exercise for this video, we're going to be working the core, and we're going to do rotations with the TRX. There's one of two ways we're going to do this. You can either drop one of the straps here and focus on the other strap like so, or what you can do is you can wrap the straps around. So you'll take one loop and bring it through the other, just like that. You only have to do it once for it to be secured. Do whatever is more comfortable for you at home. Now, for the sake of being on camera, I'm also going to shorten the strap I'm using. What I want to do is pull the strap as much as I can. Doing that alone is going to really help tighten my core here. So right now I'm really feeling it in my obliques. So I can either hold for 30 seconds on one side while pulling as hard as I can, keeping my hips nice and squared. And after 30 seconds, all I have to do is switch to the other side and pull. Another way to really work your core is to get a little more momentum in. So for this one, I can have my feet together, arms nice and straight. I can lean, and then I can pull myself back into neutral position. This one is much more advanced than just staying in place, pulling on the strap as tight as you can. If you are doing this motion here, I recommend you keep your eyes on your hands, keeping the wrist nice and neutral, and do about 15 reps on both sides. So that is it for this video of TRX training, about 6 exercises you can try out in the privacy of your own home. I'm going to stick with about 5 or 6 exercises per video for this TRX playlist. If you have any questions over what we just did for this video, or if you have questions for any other TRX videos or dumbbell or resistance bands, anything like that whatsoever, you can always email us at the Cardinal Health Fitness Center inbox. If you like this video and the exercises I just went over with you, feel free to let us know. We love our feedback from you guys, whether that is more positive or if you have any other questions or concerns, you can always let us know and we'd be more than happy to help you out. As always, thank you for joining me, thank you for checking out this video, and I will see you in the next workout.